me much pleasure to be here tonight. I'm not going to be here very long. I'm still reeling from the loss on Sunday. In fact, on Sunday morning when I woke up, I thought, Trade Pasifika, I'll be able to stand up and say, well, we won the Hong Kong 7-2. But unfortunately, as the game shows, that we always have to persevere and have a very high level of stamina. And I think the Trade Pasifika, which actually started last year, is something that must go on. It cannot be one of those regional initiatives that we only see a couple of years of it and then it fades away. As with most businesses, and indeed many people would tell you, recently I was at a forum about 2 weeks ago at the Indigenous Business Council meeting held in Suva, where somebody raised the issue about how certain businesses have were actually started and then fell by the wayside. And the reason why they did was because of the lack of ability, as I pointed out to them, to be able to connect those people who developed those products or made those wonderful handicrafts or created wonderful designs or made coconut virgin oil, to tie them up to the market. And not just tie them up to the market, but to tie them up to the market at the right price. And I think that is very, very important, to ensure that we get the fundamentals right within the national economy, but also at the regional level. As we've seen with the removal of the various trade barriers vis-a-vis the tariff barriers that were there within the MSG group at least, with the removal of those barriers by Papua New Guinea and the other two trading partners, and most of it will become 100% very soon, we have now seen an exponential growth and indeed interest in having inter-regional trade within the MSG group, and of course that will extend to the other Pacific Island countries. So I think the theme of having that level of consistency and indeed being persistent about it will reap benefits for everybody. As highlighted by the Permanent Secretary, there is enormous potential within the Pacific. We do already, whenever you mention the Pacific, we of course say that from the tourism perspective in Fiji, the word or the association with a country, the association with a region, must suddenly conjure up all these very positive images about that particular country or particular region. So the image that somebody must get conjured up in their head when somebody mentioned the Pacific or product from the Pacific must resonate with quality, with consistency, with a quality that you can depend on, and knowing that it will be right. So I think this is what we really should be focused on. Whether we're doing initially as a country, but then as a region, we must come together to be able to position our region in that fashion. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is quite simple in terms of what all those messages are. I'm sure the chairman will tell you exactly the same thing. But the point is that we need to be able to maintain that consistency, that level of sustainability, and indeed that particular level of integration. At the moment, again, as the PS had highlighted, but which is very, very important, our ability to stand as a region to be able to conduct trade, not necessarily because of the removals of specific tariff barriers, but also in respect of biosecurity, in respect of the ability of our customs agencies to be able to work together. Our ability to also recognize the different comparative advantages that we all have as individual nations. And I think that is very, very critical. There are certain things, obviously, that can be done very well in Samoa, and Fiji may not exactly be able to do that. But at the same time, there are certain things that can be done fantastically in Tonga, and Papua New Guinea may not do that, and vice versa, of course. So these are some of the, I think, the machinations we need to go through to be able to come together as a region. I'd like to thank Trade Pasifika for their collaboration with the Ministry of Industry and Trade, the Fijian Ministry of Industry and Trade, and of course all the other governments. This is a wonderful support by them. We acknowledge that, in particular the work of the Chair and his team, and of course the Ministry of Industry and Trade from Fiji, and all the other governments and business houses that are present here. Of course, without the private sector, many of these initiatives cannot stand on their own feet. And I'd like to acknowledge the support given by the private sector. We need to work in collaboration with them. Indeed, as in the same manner as we need to work in collaboration with the very people, the employees, the workers, the various craft people, and the producers of these goods, to be able to ensure that we have a very united front, but also to be able to position our region fantastically well in the world stage. So I wish you all a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I wish you all the very best in the next 2 to 3 days. Tanaka, thank you.